Welcome back to Black News Tonight. It's now time to see what's going on in the digital streets. Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer Lusia Harris died at the age of 66 on Tuesday. Harris, seen in this picture from the Basketball Hall of Fame, became the first and only woman drafted in the NBA in 1977 by the then New Orleans Jazz. Harris won 3 national titles while at Delta State and scored the first points in Olympic women's basketball history during the 1976 Summer Games. We want to send a salute to her, a certified basketball legend that opened doors for all of us. Rapper Cardi B has pledged to cover the funeral cost of 17 people who were killed in a Bronx fire earlier this month. Cardi, who is a Bronx native, told CNN, quote, "I cannot begin to imagine the pain and anguish that the families of the victims are experiencing, but I hope that not having to worry about the cost associated with burying their loved ones will help as they move forward and heal." Earlier this week, the state of New York announced $2 million will be granted to a fund dedicated to helping the victims. First of all, I want to send a shout out to Cardi B for doing that. Cardi B didn't have to do that. You know, she's from the Bronx, but a lot of people from the Bronx that don't pay money to support the victims of tragedies. So, you know, much love for that. And she's right. Funeral costs are something that in this country we have to take seriously. And so often, because we have lack of access to capital, because we don't have access to insurance, because of all of those factors, we often end up having to GoFundMe and other online digital fundraising. Or old school, we got to pass the hat around in order to make sure that our loved ones are buried. And so Cardi B took that away. But I also want to raise a different issue. While it's important to pay for the funerals and to show love for all those people who were tragically killed, I also want to see celebrities, not Cardi, I'm talking about all celebrities and other voices, speak to the fundamental conditions that lead to people living in the kind of housing that led to the fire. In other words, people are packed in a house. People are using space heaters because they can't get regular heat. People are packed in a house because they can't get living wage jobs that allow them to get proper housing. And so this tragedy, this awful tragedy, can't be fixed only through philanthropy. We need philanthropy. Again, what Cardi did was amazing. But we also need to use our voices, all of us, against these structures and systems. We need to demand more from politicians who, instead of telling us to be more responsible and turn the space heater off or not pack people into a bed, give us resources and help us produce the conditions that allow us to live lives of dignity, to live lives that are more humane. Anyway, Cardi B did an amazing thing, and I want to shout her out one more time for that, because this is exactly what we need our artists to be doing. Speaking of artists, and even rap artists, let's talk about Jay-Z and Meek Mill. Jay-Z and Meek Mill are teaming up with other industry stars to urge New York lawmakers to sign a bill that prevents rap lyrics from being used in court. In a letter signed by Hove, it reads in part, "Rather than acknowledge rap music as a form of artistic expression, police and prosecutors argue that the lyrics should be interpreted literally." Titled "Rap Music on Trial," the recently proposed bill aims to limit the court's ability to use defendants' lyrics as evidence during criminal trials. Fat Joe, Kelly Rowland, Robin Thicke, and a few more artists are joining the rappers in support of the proposed bill. This is so important. We see a consistent double standard when it comes to hip-hop. We see rock stars use drugs, sell drugs, engage in random acts of violence, but there was never a New York City rock and roll police task force. But they had one for the hip hop artists. When people listen to rap music and they do something bad, people try to draw a one-to-one correlation between the two. They try to say that the person did it because they were listening to the rap artist, but they don't do that when it comes to other genres, including genres like country music or rock or folk music that have stories of death and killing and violence and other stuff. And this idea that you can take rap lyrics literally and use them to prosecute someone is just another way to widen the net of criminality in our system. It's just another way to say that we can prove that black people are pathological. I might write rap lyrics about how I want to, do something, and that doesn't mean that I really want to do it. Bob Dylan didn't necessarily really want to hurt anybody. Megadeth, the rock group, didn't necessarily want to hurt nobody. But somehow, when Bob Marley said, "I shot the sheriff," he wasn't advocating police violence. So let's not hold rap music to a higher or different or unreasonable standard. It ain't right. It's not fair. And on some level, not on some level, on a very plain level, it's racist. So I'm glad that Meek Mill and Jay-Z are speaking up. And again, this is what it means to be in a position of power and authority, to use your platform for good. Jay-Z ain't going to trial for his lyrics, and Meek ain't going to trial for his lyrics. But they still understood the value and the importance of protecting their peers, protecting artists who are coming up later, and doing something to strike a blow against a racist and unjust criminal legal system. So shout out to Jay-Z and Meek Mill as well for what they just did. Let's talk about another rapper. During an IG Live, rapper Rod Wave explained why he dropped his single Cold December in January, and also hints that he may retire early. The rapper told viewers that the odd timing of the release was due to the fact that he didn't want to release the song, but eventually had to honor the terms of his contract with record label Alamo Records and Sony. Along with this, Rod Wave expresses difficulty with receiving attention and that he might end his rap career early because he feels like he has sold his soul. Look, if you want to be an artist, be an artist. But once you enter the music business, you totally bound up in capitalism. And I think this brother is learning that it's not any longer about putting out music on your own terms. It's not about just being free anymore. So I encourage you, brother, look, if the space isn't healthy for you, if it's not doing what you need, if it's not feeding your soul, get away, walk away, run away, whatever you got to do. You can still put out the art without the business.